One of the biggest and most anticipated releases of 2021 is here. The sequel of the phenomena that was the 2013 Malayalam film Drishyam. Termed as a phenomena, and rightly so, the film has been remade not only in Indian languages but Sinhalese and Chinese as well. It just tells you how enamored people were of the meticulous storytelling by Jeetu Joseph. The film is a rarity in many cases of world building and continuity in a landscape where franchises pay little to no attention to resuming things from where it was left off. We are transported to the life of George Kutty and his family 6 years after the incident regarding the missing and supposed murder of Varun, the son of the Inspector General. While the case is still pending, there seems to be a level of comfort and normalcy in George Kutty's family life, currently a movie theatre owner who is doing well for himself. While the family wants to move on and get past the traumatic event 6 years ago, murmurs and the grapevine in the village still spill their conspiracy theories and judgments regarding what may have actually transpired. The police feel humiliated for not coming to a conclusion. What seemed to be just a simple man outwitting the people in power, they can't get over having no form of clarity, and we are brought back to the new revelation regarding the case, which puts George Kutty and his family in the limelight for all the wrong reasons. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Drishyam 2 on Amazon Prime Video or not. The underwhelming aspects. Slow setup. This is a highly debatable point, so I'll speak about it in both respects. Most of what I find slightly problematic from a storytelling point of view might be completely overlooked by a viewer who is hooked throughout the film. The running minutes of Drishyam 2 is close to 2 hours and 33 minutes long, and I genuinely feel that at least 15 to 20 minutes of the film could have easily been edited for the film to be even more exhilarating. But I also realized while watching the film that this was a conscious decision by Jeetu Joseph as a storyteller to get the viewers transported and acquainted to the unique village and its people, the same village that we all fell in love with in 2013. The first 45 minutes of the film are spent in mostly light-hearted conversations that don't necessarily build on anything, but for us to remember the character traits and the relationships that people share. The case at hand is explored close to the hour mark, so the point is just to identify and acknowledge that Drishyam and its sequel are not films for constant stimuli. The director consciously wants you to sit with the story, understand its people, and then out of nowhere makes your jaw drop. It gave me a reminder of what I've been subjected to in the genre and to acknowledge what the film purely was in the first place. Basic shots. What I think no one can deny regarding the film and its visual treatment is that it is basic in every way. I don't know whether this was a conscious decision by Jeetu Joseph and cinematographer Satish Kurup, but most of the shots of the film are static while characters have a conversation with one another. While this works brilliantly to capture the emotional journey of George Kutty, especially with an actor like Mohanlal, which I will come to later, the simplistic treatment of shots also makes me wonder whether anything had to do with the film being shot during the pandemic and the restrictions that come with it. Irrespective, you will definitely notice that individual shots for characters or a static shot just in the corner as the family interacts with one another does give it a very basic and almost rudimentary feel. The good. The cast. I absolutely loved the cast of the original Drishyam, even countering the people who felt that some of the supporting cast members did not do a praiseworthy job. I felt that every actor really put forth such earnest performances. Even though Asha Sarath as the grieving and determined mother of the supposed deceased Varun is present for brief moments in this film, who was otherwise such an integral part of the first film, she really does communicate the grief of a parent who simply demands for revenge. I absolutely loved Suleiman, played by Kodikod Narayanan Nair, the tea shop owner who is clear about his sentiments regarding George Kutty and the case. He is the shop owner near everyone's society who has a sense of warmth and kindness that everyone gravitates towards. Murli Gopi is brilliant in the sequel, the police officer doing everything in his ability to get to the bottom of the case. There is a sense of pride that has been tarnished within him, and he is willing to fill that void by proving in any way that George Kutty is guilty. I love the family. The two daughters, Anju and Anu, really do present themselves as characters who feel a sense of safety and warmth in their household. While Anju is still recovering from the traumatic event, dealing with complicated health issues, Anu seeks and wishes for a normal teenage life, almost naive to the gravity of the situation. It is also lovely to see the contrast between the main couple, George Kutty and Rani. George is vigilant, pragmatic, and almost on the edge consistently, something that is required as he believes that there is constant surveillance on his family, while Rani is emotional, vulnerable, and innocent, finding herself in predicaments that lead to cascading effects. Everyone asks the question, who is George Kutty? Is he a sociopath that can separate the emotional from the clear task at hand? Or is he simply a man who will go to any length for the protection of his family? This is a mystery even to Mohanlal, fascinated by the character that can keep the ship afloat and presumably present himself as if living a normal life. I loved the vulnerable moments shared between Mohanlal and Meena. A scene so beautiful represents Rani just wanting clarity, just answers. But George acknowledges what is essential for the protection of his family. A slight gaze, a simple answer is enough. Mohanlal is considered to be India's Marlon Brando, a man who can just communicate with his eyes. His understated yet effective performances represent a broad range of characters. Most of the film only focuses on Mohanlal's face to communicate what might be his thought process to several situations. If you technically look at it, George Kutti is a very complex man. He might act in a particular way, but he might be internally calculating his next move with precision at the same time. This version, the original version of George Kutti by Mohanlal, I think is the most layered and effective of the renditions we have seen of the film. World building. What I really admire about the sequel of the film:
like, share, subscribe, and get notification.